Hello, everyone. Yeah, everyone can hear me well. Nice. So yeah, it's my second talk at Vue.js Amsterdam. It's good to be back after 2 years. For people who doesn't know me, my name is Julien. Well, as Alex said, I do love food. Oops, that's a surprise picture. So yeah, I do love cooking things and baking, especially cakes. I do powerlifting, do love video games, and I do a lot of open source. So yeah, as you can see on 2 pictures here, we have a cheesecake with a Nuxt logo and also a Storybook logo. And then here in France, what we call a galette des rois with another Nuxt logo. So yes, if you're wondering, I do have a Nuxt Iron. And before you even ask the question, I have been asked before, no, the Nuxt Iron isn't used for anything else than marking cakes. So, yeah, I'm part of the Nuxt core team, and I had some changes in my career last week. I joined a company called Chromatic. Does anyone knows what Chromatic is? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4? OK, yeah, so some of you. And well, this company hosts also the Storybook core team. So if you don't know what it is, Storybook is a front-end tool to allow you building your component in isolation while create your own design system. And it does much more. For example, interaction testing, visual testing, and accessibility testing. And so Chromatic is a company and a platform which aims to improve the UX of the internet by giving you developers a single platform to automate your visual test, visually review your component changes, host your design system, of course, and work with your team on all these changes for each commits, PRs, and on your main branch. OK, so I guess it's enough about me. Let's talk about shipping actual projects to production. How many of you here has been on a project that went from a build phase to a run phase? It means that it has seen like its first deployment ever and being live on the internet. Just raise your hand. So quite a lot of you. Do you remember that feeling when your deployment pipeline goes green and you see your website being actually live on the internet? It's a great thing, is it? And usually what happens then, well, it's the, I would say, boring run phase where you have to start fixing bugs. So yeah, you get user feedback. There can be a lot and different kind of feedback. They can say that, well, I have to wait before typing in some form on your website, or it kind of bugs out. Let me explain to you. So it actually happened to me on Amazon, so it can happen to anyone. I started, to look for a headset with a microphone, but professional. And I typed, I think, headset microphone in the search bar, pressed enter, the page refresh, and I started immediately to type again in the input. And the input kind of reset its state. So here, oh, you can see it. Yeah, so I lost the space P and R. So yeah, that can be a very annoying behavior from some website. So it doesn't only apply to Amazon, actually. There's quite a lot of websites, but Amazon is quite big. Yeah, I'll explain to you what happened. This is actually quite a critical bug. Side by side, you have the same page, one on the left that has been server-side rendered, and on the right that has gone through a client-side navigation. On the left, you can see that there's like some components which are in a weird state, in loading state. You have like the loading skeletons, and at the same time, the same component being like kind of filled with all the data. So yeah, that's a bit rare, and I hope it never happens to you because it's really hard to debug. This one is quite common. The page jumps around when it loads. Is it annoying? Because that's kind of the experience your users will get. Well, I'm joking, of course. Yeah, so here I want to order a margarita pizza. And suddenly, there is a flash deal banner and recommendation that appears. And I misclick and ended up adding garlic bread instead of my margarita pizza. I just want to order and eat. That kind of behavior can make your users leave and never come back. Let's see what kind of could causes these behaviors. First, for the two first example I've shown you, it's hydration. So for people who doesn't know what hydration is, it happens on some frameworks if you have a server-side rendered application. If we take Nuxt, for example, you're creating a Vue application server-side. When your users make a request, we render the Vue application, stringify it into HTML, send back the response. So your browser gets an HTML response, which contains a script that is your Vue application. It will load it, and Vue runs like any SPA. And when it runs, it will load your component, each one, render it, and at render time, you have the DOM element before even your Vue application loads, and the initial render of your Vue component. Vue will compare them, make a diff. If there is a diff, well, it will run, remove the DOM element, and of course, set the new render. The issue is that it renders the component twice, and so it delays the interactivity of your Vue, of your application. And basically, if your app takes a lot of time to load, it will, of course, try to take the state from maybe your URL queries, and so it will reset the input. I believe this won't happen in Vue anymore because there was a PR that kind of improved this behavior. And here, when you have a diff that is too big, what can happen is that your framework can bug and forget to remove the DOM element, or applying some weird, forgetting to remove classes from what is currently on the DOM element. And that's how you get with such a critical hydration issues. For the last issue with the page jumping around, it's actually just a CLS issue. So CLS stands for cumulative layer shift. It's a web core vital metric, and it just measures how much your elements are moving around when your page loads. And that's kind of hard to detect because it's usually that kind of issue is triggered by injected code. For example, tag managers. So if you've seen some of my talk, I really don't like tag managers because it's not managed by developers, most of the time by marketers. And developers don't even know what's being loaded on their own website. Now, so these issues are kind of hard to debug. What if I told you that Nuxt could try to find a way and tell you what could be improved on your website? And that's just basically my talk, introducing you to Nuxt Hints. It's, for now, a dev-only Nuxt module that tries to give you real-time feedback in your console on what's happening in your application and how you could improve it. And I've prepared a small live demo. So here, I'm on a MacBook. I didn't move another tab to another screen. I'm not used yet to. Please give me Thank you. So yeah, here we have Nuxt bytes. It's an example I've prepared for the talk. And if you go here in the inspect, so it's a Nuxt project that already has Nuxt hints. If you go in the console, you will see different kinds of logs. So it's so small, I cannot see it from where I am. Can you? Yes. Is it big enough, or should I move it somewhere else? Yeah, no, that's, well, yeah, yeah, it's probably better this way. And of course, I've set the PC layout on my keyboard. Yeah, so you have different kind of warnings. Let's say this one. Let's start with HTML validation. So when you render your page server side, usually you want to keep your HTML valid. It's less of a problem client side, but server side, you need to keep your page valid because otherwise it can trigger some hydration issue. So we will log you anything that you should add to your HTML page. Then this one is actually a hydration issue that Vue usually logs you by showing you the component tree, what has been mismatched, but yeah, that's all. So what I wanted to see is actually if we could help users. Yeah, there's a lot of issues here. Yeah, help users by telling them, well, which component has a hydration mismatch. And if it does, well, we will tell them which file they can look at so they can fix it. You have additional logs here, hints, lazy load information. This one is about tracking which component can be lazy loaded. So Nuxt hints track every file that is being imported, every component that is being imported but not used. And so if it is not, well, you could lazy load them. And so you would reduce the bundle, the initial bundle size for your end users. We also do things such as like Web Vitals metric. Here on this button, it cannot block the JavaScript main thread. And on any poor or rating that needs improvement, we will log you out the metric that has been emitted by Web Vitals. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all. If I forget anything, it will be on my slides. So let's try to get back to the slides. Perfect. What else? Yeah, so let me explain to you how everything works under the hood. For hydration mismatch detection, we basically check for each component at render time, the HTML before and after Vue's hydration. And if there is one, we log you something in the console. Yeah, so what can cause a hydration mismatch? Basically, if your component doesn't render the same thing as what's currently in the DOM, but the root causes can be different things. If you're using browser-only API in setup, if you're using non-deterministic values like math random, date also, because you won't have the same date server-side and client-side. Async behaviors, if you're like trying to fetch data but not using servers like SSR-friendly refs in Nuxt. And invalid HTML. As I explained, sometimes, so you get your HTML as a response, send it back to the browser, and there's a behavior that a lot of browser implements is trying to autocorrect invalid HTML. So it's a bit strange. In fact, the hydration mismatch doesn't come from your HTML response. It's come directly from your browser. You can try to autocorrect, and then that's how everything can bug out. And so we have a whole feature on HTML validation. Each time you render a page server-side, we will trigger import HTML validate, run it on every HTML rendered, and log you anything that should be a warning or an error in your console. We also look for some Web Vitals metric. First is LCP and images. And we catch some mistakes people can make. First is adding loading lazy on your LCP image, because an LCP is the biggest element on your page, and you want your users to get it first. And if you set loading lazy, it will delay the moment your browser will start to load your image. Fetch priority high. Basically, it's an attribute that tells the browser to prioritize this image to download with a height attribute. So yeah, when your browser gets an image, it doesn't know what size it has. So it doesn't reserve any space. If your image is really big, basically, when it loads your picture, it will start to push other element down, and this can cause some layout shift. And finally, we will always tell you to, try to prefer WebP and AVI format, which are lighter than JPEG and PNG. Other web core vitals metric are CLS and INP. So CLS, I just explained for the images. It's just layout shift. Common causes can be images without detection, content injected after load, like by tag managers. Font swapping can also trigger some layout shift. It's usually minimal, but yeah, it can happen. INP, each time your users will interact with your buttons, if you do some heavy computing synchronously, it can basically stop the responsiveness of your application and make your application feels buggy. Then content lazy loading. Well, I already explained it, I think. So yeah, if it's imported but not used, we will log something in the console to tell you, well, which component can be lazy loaded. So you can either use the lazy prefix in Nuxt, for example, or use the define async component. And we also track third-party script, mostly showing you about how much time it took to download and pass the script, warn you about missing cross-origin attribute, tell you if it's render blocking, and of course, suggest you to use Nuxt script, which is another Nuxt module, official module maintained by Harlan from the Nuxt core team. And it has a really nice developer experience. You will see if you try. So yeah, since it's an official Nuxt module, of course, it will come with a DevTool experience. And I will have to get back to the demo. Does everyone knows about Nuxt DevTools here? Yeah, quite a lot of you. Perfect. So let me close the console. And basically, it's similar to Vue DevTool and vDevTool. You have a small, how is it called, like a modal button, like floating button, yeah? And here we have the Nuxt hints page. So it means that you have an UI that you can use, and it's probably better for you than having 100 console logs. So yeah, let's see quickly. We have all the Web Vitals metrics here. Something I think it's quite cool is, well, I interacted with this button that triggers an INP Pro rating. And if you hover over the interaction target, you can see that it's highlighted. And if you click on it, it's on my other screen, but we basically will open Yeah, can I bring, no? Oh yeah, I know why. I need, like, I probably need to get a Mac OS course to understand how everything works. So yeah, we will open, for example, this was triggered on dashboard.vue, and we will open directly the page or the component directly in VS Code for you. Now, how do I get back to Google Chrome? Thank you. Oh, so yeah, well, I was talking about Web Vitals. So you click here, it opens VS Code. Yeah, perfect. What's next? Yeah, we have also third-party script. Which just shows you how many third-party script you're loading, which ones are loaded, if it took, well, too much time to parse, and, well, you can see which URL it has. You can log the element or copy the URL. Hydration, this is probably very important. So this, the hydration feature will watch over all your server-side rendered page and save it server-side, so in your development instance. And we try to compare before and after hydration and make a diff of it. So it's easier for you to find what has mismatched. So here it's about the text result. So in red is, I think, usually what has been removed, and green what has been added, or yeah. So yeah, I hope it will help you a lot. What else? HTML validation, it's kind of the same thing. It lists all the warnings and error, the location. So here at line 2, I should have added a lang attribute to my HTML tag. And finally, lazy loading. We will list you which component has been imported, is in your, it's in your file dependency, but has not been rendered. I think that's pretty much all for the DevTools part. Let's go back again to the slides. So yeah, that was all for Nuxt DevTools, Nuxt Hints DevTool experience. If we take a look back at the journey of Nuxt Hints, you'll see that the first commit has been done in, well, actually in August 23 by Jakob, who's on the side here. And the second commit was done in February 25. Hey, that's how open source works. Some project can sleep for a while and just wake up. The first alpha was done, was released in November 25, and 1.0 will be released today. So what do we have on the roadmap? Well, not that much, I'd say. We will have pre-render hints, which will tell you if a page could be pre-rendered, because it doesn't have any dependencies, like to any user requests or any external API. Optimization hints for assets and like fonts and script that Jakob is working on it. And finally, production mode. Because Nuxt Hints is for now a dev-only module, it could go to production. So you could like maybe report it to your telemetry platform. And yeah, that's pretty much all I say. Any ideas are of course welcomed. We've released alpha stage in November to gather more feedback and what could be improved. And yeah, so I guess it's time for 1.0. And I've already prepared everything, so yeah, I just need to squash and merge. I hope nothing will break. And I even have prepared the draft release. So technically, yeah, if I verify everything, yeah, perfect. I can publish it now, click on the button, and yeah, it's published. There should be a CI that runs and publish everything automatically. So what do I need to add? Yeah, Nuxt hints. Yeah, the future of Nuxt hints will be basically be directed by the community. As a Nuxt core member, we all hope that improving developer experience will, in the end, improve the user experience and user experience. So yeah, that's why I'm asking you for your help in giving more ideas, more feedbacks, what we could improve, whether it is on Nuxt Inside or Nuxt or any modules in the Nuxt ecosystem. So yeah, I guess that we can say Nuxt is a framework that was made and is made by the community, for the community, and also for other communities as we try to share what can be shared with other frameworks. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm very looking forward, to work with Storybook team and Chromatic. It won't change my involvement in Nuxt. And in fact, it's probably also a huge opportunity to make Storybook, Vue, Nuxt work better together. So yeah, thank you very much.